It's fair to say at this point that Marvel Legends was my gateway drug into collecting. I mean, yeah, I'd buy toys, and I got a lot of Godzilla figures when I was a kid. I started to care about honestly collecting around 2015, and that was largely due to a lot of Marvel Legends coming out. And over the almost decade I've been collecting them, there's been a few key characters I've always wanted to get. Of course, one of those characters was Hawkeye. There was one from 2012, but it didn't really fit what I wanted for Hawkeye. There was one from 2015, but it just didn't look right. Of course, there was the retro-carded one, which was basically impossible to get. But luckily for me, in early 2023, Hasbro did a fan stream, where they revealed the new capsule wave for this year. That being the Avengers 60th anniversary. And no time was better to reveal a brand new Hawkeye and Skyscycle. At a quick glance of this figure, it looks like just straight up reuse. But when you look deeper into it, it's actually a very good figure. The head sculpt is perfect. I love the attention to detail on the mask parts, and the head wings are glued on correctly. Oh, that photo reel does wonders for this figure. His eyes look nice and lively, and the lips are actually toned very well. Not too dark, but not too light. But something I did notice while looking at him, he kinda looks like Cillian Murphy. Love the metallic purple they used for the scale mail. And the belt sash around his body is nicely sculpted and even features a painted buckle. The arms are pretty much just bare human arms, but this band right here is a separate piece, and so is the bracer. Unlike a lot of older Marvel Legends, these are tight on him. And of course, how could I forget the pinless joints? For the rest of the body, you might think that these purple stripes right here are just sculpted in, but they're actually separate pieces. Having them sunk into the body like this makes the paint apps look a lot better, and sidesteps the whole floaty belt thing. Of course, how could I talk about this figure without mentioning the cloth loincloth? It's made of a nice stretchy material, so I don't feel like I'm gonna rip it. I do kinda wish there was at least a little 3D modeling to these stripes. On camera, it looks really bad, but in person, it's not that big of a deal, but it just would have been that extra little bit of detail. Of course, the torso is in a baby blue color, and has a lot of nice muscle definition. And obviously from the crotch down to the legs, it's the same baby blue color as the torso, with some very nice muscle definition, as always in Marvel Legends. And just like the arms, you get the beautiful pinless knees. As for his boots, they are reuse of the 20th and, by extension I guess, 80th anniversary Captain America figures. But it's strange because the only part that's different is the feet. I guess they didn't want to give old Clint Barton some big feet. I've heard people say that they look kind of big on him, but honestly, I really like that they kind of billow out. Of course, he just has some standard Marvel Legends articulation. For, I'm pretty sure the first time since probably Toy Biz, we have really nice butterfly joints on a Hawkeye figure, which really helps him pose with this included quiver. It just looks too detailed and kind of out of place with this very comic figure. Of course, there's a peg and a peg hole in Hawkeye's back, and once you get it in there correctly, he looks amazing with it. Of course, you can't have Hawkeye without a bow and arrow. I'm not even sure if the arrow will show up on this camera. It's just cast in a gray. I'm pretty sure this is a brand new piece, and I really love the look of it. I'd say the only problem with it is that he can't really hold it in between his fingers. And I'll actually show you how I fix that, but first let's take a look at the bow. The bow is pretty much just a nice sparkly gold color, with the wrap painted black, and of course the string is painted a beige. The black of the handle does kind of rub off into the hands, but it's just paint. You can rub it off with your fingernail. Now that we've got the bow out of the way, I'll tell you what I did with the fingers. Really simple. All you really need is an X-Acto knife and a steady hand. What I did was cut the finger away from the rest of the hand, and that's about it. So now if you get him in the correct pose, when you try and get him into an archery pose, he looks fantastic. That combined with the amazing articulation really brings this guy alive. But of course, that's not all he has. He also comes with a pair of fists. So you can have him punching out any supervillain that is average powered. And just with all that, I called this figure a very worthy figure. But that's not all he came with. He also came with the Skyscycle. And man, it would have been so cool if this figure was the return of the Riders series of figures. And out of the box, there is some assembly required, but it's pretty damn easy. Voila! Of course, this would be pretty lame if it didn't have any stands, which is why it came with this. It's a nice, clear, opaque plastic-ish, with a tall, medium, and a short ball joint extension. For some reason on mine, the tall ball joint doesn't want to play very well. At first it was just kind of loose, but now it won't even stay on. So more commonly, I'll use the middle ball joint. And holy crap, this thing is full of amazing detail. It's made of a nice gunmetal gray plastic, but there are some very nice paint apps. This air intake here has black painted in between the grates, and so do these vents. The seat is just painted brown, and there's a really cool readout meter here. Thrusters have a nice color fade to them, which make them look like they're actually in use. Just that added amount of detail. And the bottom is absolutely jam-packed full of amazing panel detail. Get hover thrusters right here, and just a lot of amazing panel lining detail. Of course, I'm pretty sure this is the main reason we got the soft goods loincloth. I forgot to mention the windshield, which is a very nice clear plastic with some lining detail. Is it just me, or does he kinda look like a grandma rolling around in a Walmart scooter? And there's even room for 2 on this thing. Any character you have with open hands can sit on it and grab the handles. Although I really have nowhere to put it, it is a very fun addition to the set. So where does that leave us? Finally leaves us with a good, nay, great Hawkeye figure. This is the figure of Hawkeye I've always wanted. The colors on him are nice and vibrant. The photo reel is mwah! The sculpting is amazing. The accessories are just perfect, and he even comes with a really nice vehicle. I think the only thing that would have made this figure way better is if they included a shrunk down Ant-Man, or at least an arrow with an Ant-Man sitting on it. I actually did that myself in this photo. But seriously, this figure is amazing. I highly recommend it if you can find him. I've heard of him showing up in a few Targets and a lot of GameStops throughout the US, and he's in stock on Big Bad Toy Store. So if you're even thinking about getting him, get him. He is amazing. And that just leaves me with a few more Avengers to get, mainly Thor and Black Widow.
I don't know how many years on this earth I got left. I'm gonna get real weird with it. Meanwhile, block the wind. I'm gonna roast this bone.
Jesus Christ.
Come on.